The video today is going to be replacing a battery in this Remington Trimmer. It's an HC4250. I purchased this trimmer a little over 6 years ago on Amazon, and over the past 6 to 8 months or so, it was obvious the battery was failing. It would, when you turned it on, you can tell it wasn't fully charged, and the charge wouldn't last very long. So when I took it apart, I've already replaced the battery in this. This is the battery that I replaced. It's a 14500 lithium ion cell. This is not a NiCad or a NIM. It's a lithium cell, which is, normally 3.7 volts a cell. It's the exact size of a AA battery. It's about 50 millimeters long, but these batteries are very easy to find on eBay, Amazon, or AliExpress. And they're about $10 each, which is kind of high. Disappointingly, if you buy a quantity 10, they're only $3 each, but I obviously didn't need 10 of these batteries. For tools, you're going to need some sort of a prying tool to wedge in here to get this open. And you might want a plastic tool also. A lot of these cell phone kits, when you replace a battery, come with stuff like this. So you're going to need a couple tools to pry it apart. You're also going to need like a jeweler's screwdriver. I have an old Husky laying around where you can change the bits. This comes in really handy to get some of the small Phillips head screws out of here. And last, you will need a soldering iron. You're going to have to unsolder the battery from the trimmer. It's not difficult soldering. It's just two wires, a plus and a minus. Okay, I'm using some cell phone tools that I got when I once replaced a battery in my cell phone, and this came with it. It's very sharp, and I ended up putting this on the belt sander to make it even thinner so it gets into those seams. So it looks like I got this piece popped off already a bit. No doubt I'm going to scratch this up a little bit, but more or less, I don't care what this looks like as long as I can replace the battery in it and not have to spend $60 buying a new trimmer. Boy, it popped off easy in the back here, but getting the rest off is a bit of a challenge. It's getting stuck here. Okay, didn't realize that comes off. Wow. Okay, looks like I got some cleaning to do too. Did not realize that came off. Alright, this took a bit of a manhandling with an actual screwdriver to pop that off. And a spring has come out. We'll have to figure out where that went. And that might... Okay, I know where that went. That's for the momentary switch on the top. Okay, so this came off intact. Disappointingly, the rubber boot on the side, I managed to pull this loose. I'll have to see if I can use a little glue to get that back on later on. Well, we're getting somewhere. Okay, there's two small Phillips head screws in these holes here. Let's go for that second. That's too big. Okay. Alright, so that comes off also, that little washer for the switch. So apparently there's a couple of tabs here in the corner, and that's where we want to go to get this loose. Wow. It's not easy to take apart. Okay. Well, I thought I had it. Definitely popped out. There we go. Okay, something is holding it down now. There we go. Okay, now I broke that here on the side. I don't think it's going to matter. A little piece of plastic. That doesn't do much. Okay. What's next? And you can see this is what spins around. Battery contact up here. Well, now at least I can see what the battery size is. I can put a ruler to it and measure it, make sure it's what they claim it is, because I don't have the battery right now, but I wanted to get the length of the battery so I knew exactly what I was buying. Alright, well, I guess we'll have to take those Phillips off. Ooh, these are in tight. Alright, might have the wrong bit size too for this. Let me try a different bit on the screwdriver. That doesn't fit too well either. Well, let's try these out. Oh boy. Not getting those out. Oh, okay. Different screwdriver with a different bit on it. They come out really easy. It's just having the right bit. See, the blue shell just looks like it's sitting on top of the black plastic. Oh, hold on. There it is. It's these two tabs on the side. Let me get the camera down a little bit more. So you put this screwdriver in from the top and then pry that clear blue piece out. It should pop out. You could hear it pop on the other side. Okay, so something, oh, the back, okay, the back also comes off. There we go. There's a hook back here. There we go. And look at that, we got the blue piece off. Okay. Standard button cell, I mean not button cell, double A cell, definitely. So now we got to get the circuit board loose. And how does that come out? Now here you want to be careful about using a metal screwdriver because you could possibly short something with voltage being here. Trying to understand how that plastic, how the circuit board is held to that white piece of plastic. There's two little springs here on the sides, but it seems to just be sitting on top of the battery. Kind of oily also. I'm going to use a plastic tool so I don't short anything. And now it doesn't want to come out too easy. So what is holding that circuit board down? Oh, okay, looks like if you just pull the battery, it's acting as a spring. When I pull the battery up, it's fighting me. There we go. Okay. What it ends up doing is it just kind of flexes the circuit board a little bit. So now we've got the battery out, got the dimensions, and here's the print on it. So you can see it. It's a 14500 battery, 3.7 volt, 750 milliamps. Okay, so that's a standard cell. Interesting how they have a diode down here. I don't know what why that's all the way down there like that. Oh, I'll make you a bet that's not a diode, that's a temperature sensor to monitor the battery temperature when it's charging. I'm positive that's probably what that is, and that's why it's below the board, because it's right next to the battery cell. So it's pretty cool that it has a temperature sensor in it to monitor the battery. Alright, so I'm going to order this from Amazon or eBay, and we'll put it back together on another day when the battery arrives. Alright, so the battery arrived from Amazon. It's this was about $10. You can see it's the same size. It's a shame that they charge $10 for this. I mean, you buy a pack of 10 and they're like $3 each. But when you buy a single cell, boy, they sting you good on the price. Now, it's got two green covers here, I guess, to prevent any shorting and shipping. So make sure you remove those. I'm going to unsolder the wire first just to make it easier. I mean, we could solder the wire directly to the top of the battery. We could do that also. I'm not sure what would be easier. So let's just hit a soldering iron to this real quick and get that wire off of there. Now it's pretty obvious the plus has that little marking. But you know what? Let's put this on a voltmeter real quick. Didn't think about that. Let's check what the shipping voltage is. Since it's a lithium battery, it should have a charge on it. It's not a good idea to ship lithium with 0 volts. And yeah, it's actually charged at what they call storage charge. It's 3.8 volts, which is good. That's exactly what you want when you have a lithium battery shipped to you. Okay. So I'm going to take a little piece of sandpaper, I'm going to find something, and I'm going to sand the tops off of these batteries just a little bit to create a better surface for soldering, in case there's a finish on there of some sort. Okay, so that looks good. Do the same with the bottom. Okay. Now I'm going to try to tin it with some solder. Let's see if it sticks. Use rosin core type solder. And yeah, that sticks really well, as you can see. Okay. So that's going to make it easier to get the wires soldered on. I'm not going to bother with the solder tabs. I'm just going to solder the wires directly to the battery. So now, of course, you got to pay attention to the polarity here when you put it back in. I'm going to have the positive towards this way. So again, the cell with that little lip here on the battery, that's the positive, because there's no other, oh, there is a plus sign here. So it does mark it. See, if we were to put the battery in without putting the leads on it, can I get it soldered in? And I guess I can. Okay, so, oops, the battery fell in, so now I can't get to the tab. That's what I was worried about. I'm going to stick something underneath it so it doesn't fall back in to the casing. I'm just going to put a bit there. That'll keep it from sliding back into the casing. Actually, I'm going to find a third hand because it's hard for me to get the wire to hold against the cell of the battery. And that should hold it close enough for me to get the soldering iron on there. So same problem here, we got to get the battery out of that shell. Okay, so I'm going to use the bit again to hold the battery in from sliding all the way in. Okay. Let's try it this way. Okay, so we've got a good solder connection now on the negative. Pull the bit out of the way, and now you're going to have to spread these tabs open a little bit to get that battery in. It's obviously a tighter fit when it doesn't have solder tabs. It sticks out just a little bit more, but as you can see, it goes in fine. Okay, it actually does work. This is the switch that turns it on and off, and as you can see, it's spinning this piece of brass here. Okay, so there's two bumps here, and there's a thing in the front this way. And, oh, okay, so that snaps on easy. That's no problem. I'm going to test the switch again. It still spins. So this now just fits in very easily. There's nothing to snap into place. I'm still not clear if you need to take these spring pieces off or not. And yeah, you do. Alright, so they do have to come out. So they go on after you put that back piece on. Okay, so we've got this. It still turns on. I just tested the button, make sure. So now this red piece, it has two screws. You gotta line them up when you put it back in. Okay, now in the front here, just put your finger in it on both sides when you push it in, so it's inside that groove here. And there you go. You can hear that little snap. When it's clicked in, then it's good. And then tighten up the screws. This is a plastic thread, so don't go over tight on these. Just snug them up. Okay. So we're looking good so far. Now for the spring and this metal piece. So this is the underside of the switch, and that just presses against that spring in this metal washer. I'm a little unclear. I guess the inside ring on the washer sits inside the spring. I don't see any other way that would go on there. Okay, this piece fits nice and easy. Yay, it turns on. Okay, so it's looking good. I messed up the rubber here a little bit. I might have to put a little like E6000 glue on it to clean it up a little bit. If you're more careful than I am when you separate this from the rubber piece, maybe you won't damage that. But I did damage mine. You can see here it has a slit in it and the glue is all loose. No big deal. Okay, and then the blade snaps back in the bottom. I'm going to leave that out until I get the glue on. And then I'll give it a full charge and we'll see how it goes. I put a clamp on the razor about 2 hours ago. I used this E6000 glue. You can get this anywhere. Home Depot, Lowe's. It's a good glue. It dries with a little bit of flexibility to it. And so I'm going to take the clamp off. That'll hold it on. It doesn't have to be perfect, but that's good enough for what I need. It looks good. I mean, the first thing I noticed when I turned it on, all assembled, you can feel it's vibrating more. It has a more powerful sound to it. I suspect this battery was no longer taking a full charge and it was just weak. I looked it up. This trimmer is a little over 6 years old, and it was in the past year that this battery was noticeably starting to give me problems. So I had 5 good years of service, and then the 6th year it was obvious the battery was failing. So that's not bad. They get 6 years out of this. I'm still a little annoyed that this battery was $10, knowing when you buy them in larger quantities it goes down to $3 a battery. It's really a shame you have to pay $10 for a stupid battery like this. I will put in the item description the battery that I got off of Amazon. I'll put the link to it. And you can get these batteries on eBay. You could also go to AliExpress. It would definitely be cheaper there, but you're going to have several weeks of waiting for the battery to arrive. But this was worthwhile. I mean, I looked this up. A new one is over $60. So $10 repair. If I get another 5 or 6 years out of it, that's pretty good.